through it real quick, just so you know. But I'm the author of The Key of Life, and my background is that I've been a photographer all my life. Since I was 10 years old, I had this camera around my neck, and I carried it everywhere, and it led me to a career in the newspaper, starting at the newspaper and television, in the Phoenix market, and then to the network at NBC. And after 20 years of that, I moved to the motion picture industry because the news business was becoming too tabloid for me. So as I moved along in the motion picture industry, this is where the story developed for me. I had moved into a new house one day, and it was June 23rd, 1995, and I remember the date clearly because on that day I had a thought about a friend of mine that I had gone to grade school with. Her name was Kathy Lynch, and I felt she had passed away, and I didn't know where these thoughts were coming from, but I did what I always did as a newsman. I listened to my internal gut feeling, and I made some calls to my mother, and I kept asking her to try to find Kathy. I didn't tell her what was going on. I kept it kind of quiet, but to make a long story short, at the end of a year of looking for her, I had a dream and an out-of-body experience, and that pushed me finally over the edge where I had to tell someone. And I told my mom. I called her and said, look, she's coming to me in dreams. I've been asking you forever. I need you to find her. And that propelled the story along a little further, a little quicker, and by the end of that month, after over a year of looking for her, she found Kathy's relative, a nun down in Pittsburgh, her Kathy's sister, and that's where we are today. She was up here in just outside of Pittsburgh here doing we're in a convent, and my mom got hold of her, told her I was trying to get hold of Kathy, and she said, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but she passed away from ovarian cancer. Well, I was working on a video on ovarian cancer at the time, and I could see this synchronicity that John was just talking about, that it was like, another way to explain synchronicity is when you want to say, oh, what a coincidence. But I knew it was more than a coincidence. Somehow these were I started to notice them in my life. They were just happening all the time, and the newsman in me registered it because I was trained to go out and look at the events that were occurring around me, and when you'd see this and you'd see this other connection, you always investigated that. Well, I started investigating. I kept a journal of everything from that point on. The night I had the dream, that was the first writings I had done about that ended up in the book. But from that point on, I followed this path of synchronicity in my life, and it led me to a Russian acupuncturist. And I had no knowledge or belief or anything at all about the metaphysical, even though my book is called The Key of Life, a metaphysical investigation. I didn't even know what that word meant. I didn't know about reincarnation, past lives. I was just this boy that had grown up here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh, and I was raised in a Roman Catholic family, and that's the only religious experience I had. So now I'm here with this Russian acupuncturist, and a series of synchronicities got me into her office, and I sat down with her, and the first words out of her mouth were, what's gone on in your life, to me? And I said, well, I'm working on this cancer video right now, and that's all I got out of my mouth. And she said, well, my mom's got cancer really badly. She's got breast cancer, but she's in this great program at UCLA, and I only took 70 people in the program, and I just stopped her there. She starts to describe the program that I was shooting the video on. And I said, I knew right away, what's the chances? I'm in Los Angeles, 14 million people surrounding me, and I'm in the office with a woman whose mom's in the program that I'm shooting a video on. And it was like a runway had lit up for me. And that's what I was following, these markers. I'm going to explain what these markers are, these synchronicities in your life. They're really little, I call them markers. I call them marks that we put along our path that we created. We created this whole play we're wandering around in here. And we put these synchronistic markers there to make us feel good that we're hitting the marks. When you're an actor out on the stage and you have to be at this point of the stage because something's going to occur, and if you're not there, you're not hit your mark. And when we're in the movie business, you have to hit your marks too. If you're not there, the camera is not going to get the perfect close-up of you, and they have the camera set, and you have to run up to here and stop and do this, and everybody has to hit marks. And that's us too. We're all actors in the stage. We're all part of this play we wrote. The movie's about you. You're all movie stars out there, every one of you. You want to see a movie star, look in the mirror. You're the biggest one. It's the world revolves around you. The play revolves around you. When you interact with someone else, then you're playing the supporting role to them. So we're all stars of a movie of our own, and we're also supporting actors to everyone else that we interact with. So when you go through your life, that's what you've got to understand it. These marks are going to appear when you're on the set and you're hitting you're in the place where you're not. When you're not, they aren't going on right. But you're going to feel good when you see these synchronicities occurring. And it's just like John was saying, when the numbers hit the right thing, you get up, wow, this is something going on here. You're going to feel really good about that. So it's going to move you along that path. And that's what this was doing to me. Everything was lighting up. Now I'm in with Lucy. She put some needles in me. And I was so open to it. I had no belief system. I was a reporter. The other thing I never use is that word believe. I don't use that because I only search for the truth. And that's what I want all of you to do out there tonight, is find that truth inside of each one of you. And John touched on that too. It's really an understanding of your own capabilities, what you can do, and it's not what somebody can tell you. I'm not going to tell you anything. I don't want you to believe anything I'm saying here tonight. I want you to look deep inside your own life and see what you can pull out of it here. So Lucy stuck the needles in me, and I'm lying on the table, and I start up with telling her some stories of who I am, who she was, and how we're all connected. And then I started proving it to her, because I was telling her things that I had no knowledge of, and it resonated in her life and mine, things I had accumulated around me. And on my book cover, which you can see there's all these symbols. And they were popping up all over as I followed the story. And I knew they were important. I was saying they were, and I didn't know how they were going to play out. But at the end of the book, you'll see how everything tied together, and everything happened for a reason, and it continues to this day. These types of events are not just a one-shot deal. It's your life, and your life is always flowing down this path, and the synchronicities will just keep rolling around you. There isn't a day that goes by that we don't have synchronicities. John and I